Hi, I have been struggling a bit with patience with myself and compassion with myself, and it's similar to the art video that I made a couple of days ago. And I don't know if maybe this is just like something that I should not talk about again, because I'm like, I've already said it once, maybe I don't need to say it again, but self-compassion seems to be a thing that I'm finding a lot of answers to in a lot of different ways. And yeah, I'm struggling again with the feeling of judgment that I have with myself for what I tell myself is that I know better. And I think I'm having this conflict between mind and heart, and like intellect and emotions and wounding and stuff, which again, I'm judging myself because I'm just saying like it's a bit of a futile conflict because they're never on the same page. So why compare them, and why even believe that one has authority over the other, because they just don't. Like they're in different fields. But yeah, I'm having this conflict of my mind getting in the way of me fully accepting where my heart's at in some situations. And it comes off as a lot of judgment and a lot of, like, you know better, And I've mentioned a couple of times this, the interaction between knowing something and understanding something and then having the wisdom that fills out that understanding. And I think that's a nice like arc of learning that I think is really important to, for me at least, to just keep racking into my brain of like, knowing something isn't enough. It's not enough to be told something and to know it. And again, as much as I tell myself that, it's still, it's like this sick loop in my head. And I think that's a problem, is that I'm really in my head. And I'm having a difficult time mediating out of that. But I've been trying to use the framework of compassion that I have for like my friends and my loved ones around me, and like how I've learned that compassion, and how I've learned to not judge my friends and everything like that. And it's a little bit of a bitter moment because, like there's, I don't know, like this is just a quick little like thing. It can be kind of disheartening when you realize that you treat people around you with so much love and respect and care, and I wouldn't change that for the world. But it's a bit of a sad moment when you realize that you struggle to turn that into yourself. And like, I know it's something we all struggle with, but it can be like a bit like brutal to realize sometimes, where you're like, oh, like it's so easy for me to love these people and to give these people the benefit of the doubt and to understand these people and not judge these people and extend so much love and like patience with these people because I love them and I care about them. And yet I sit here struggling with that for myself so deeply. So that in and of itself is just a bit of a wham. That's not what I'm talking about. Yeah, well, I've been trying to like copy paste some learning of probably one of like the earliest things I had to like get myself with, especially with like other people around me, is that thing of, when you see people that you love like enter into the same to a similar looking lesson, or making choices that from the outside looking in, you could look at them and just be like, why is that what you're choosing to do right now? Because we've either had conversations or you've expressed your feelings, and like, like examples of like, why are you going to university for your parents? That's not going to end well. Why are you doing it? Why are you staying in this relationship that is clearly sucking the life out of you? Why are you friends with these people that treat you badly? Those situations, from when the outside looking in, you're kind of like, come on, what's not puzzling? And it's that arc of understanding that everyone has their own life. Everyone will learn the lessons in their own way and in their own time. And for whatever reason it is, and no matter how much you think you understand what someone's feeling or going through or what's best for them or whatever, there's going to be feelings that people feel that only they understand, and that only they will feel the pull to, and I think you might understand it for yourself, when you're looking at a situation and you're like, I know I shouldn't, but there's something that's just pulling me there. And it's that thing of, I know I shouldn't, but I feel otherwise. And that's usually the feeling that you might encounter with friends or loved ones, when they could be talking about something or a decision that they're making, and that life might have taught them that it looks bad in this regard, but then there's this pull in them that's just but there's just something there for me. And I talk about this with my Capricorn friend all the time, and she's very aware of this feeling. And I think it's really it's a feeling that really embraces that thing of learning. And she phrased it, she's there's something that I need to learn there. And it might be the lesson that she's been trying to learn again and again and again, but there's still this awareness of, and even if it's not an awareness of, I know I'm going in to learn this lesson, but there's still this awareness of, something in me is calling me to learn because I need to. So I need to honor that. And it's so important to respect that in everyone. And I mean, this is another situation entirely when you're just talking about relationships, but if you really value your friends and your loved ones, you need to respect that in order to have them in your life. Because if you've been able to see this person and for whatever reason you love them and you want them in your life, their choices should not have to impact your relationship to them, as long as you can just respect their autonomy and their right to make decisions and enter situations, I guess within reason. We're not going to extremes here, but you've got to respect everyone's right to enter into things and have a feeling that they need to do something and walk into whatever and feel whatever and deal with the consequences and grow and learn and whatever. That's been such an important thing for me to have had to learn. And it's how I think, and why I think so many of my closest relationships have so much strength and trust in them, because we all see each other go into things and we might have thoughts or feelings about it, but at the end of the day, we're going to be there for each other. And we're going to be there for the phone call that's, why is it the fucking it's the same thing, god damn it, it's I knew better, that kind of thing. We're there for that. And I'm always there for that with my friends. But I feel a particular block with it within myself. And I guess it's just, I think the block comes in when I use this argument of, you know better. When that just feels so irrelevant. And so I'm frustrated at myself, getting frustrated at myself, because, and then I'm just creating this loop of frustration that's really doing me absolutely no good. It's a little bit insane what the brain can do sometimes. And it was coming up a lot in the past couple 2 days, so I took a lot of yesterday and this morning to kind of just chill out about it, and so I feel a bit more level-headed, which is why I'm deciding to talk about it now. But I'm really having to instill in myself, and I really want to just further instill in anyone else that needs to hear it, that knowledge is not the problem, especially when it comes to healing emotional wounds. You knowing something, I don't know, I just want myself and everybody else to get rid of this whole idea of you know better. Because what I'm understanding and what I'm really just trying to honor and respect about the process of healing is that, and I guess I need to like figure out how to say this without like in less than a billion words and really convoluted and vague. But like the process of healing, and when it comes to wounds and like confronting them and like having them play out in yourself, out from within yourself, because there's such like elusive things, you know, like wounding to the identity into your person is such like an elusive thing to try and like interact with, because it's so deep inside of you in this very like intangible, unknown place. Like it's like in your spirit, and like not your spirit, it's in like your soul. It's in your identity, which is so ethereal. Is that the word? I have no idea. You know, like intangible. Like what the fuck? How do you like? It's a personality. It's not a thing. It's not tangible. And so when you have wounding to something that's just so, it's like anything with like us, like it's all, we experience ourselves in the world. So whatever's going on inside, we'll see on the outside. And so if we have woundings of anything, we'll see them in the world. We'll see them in our relationships and in our choices and decisions and the way we carry ourselves and the way we talk to ourselves and the way we talk to others. That's where we can see it all like play out. And I'm really just having to respect that until I can walk as somebody that is healed with whatever wound I have, like until the wound within myself, until I've seen it in its entirety and I've really understood it and felt it, like until I've been fully present and healed that wound, and therefore that part of my person, that part of my personality and my identity is healed. Until I'm that new person, I'm going to see the wound, no matter how big it is, no matter how small it is, no matter how challenging it is or how frivolous it might seem. If it's still inside of me, it's going to be outside of me. It's going to come in the relationships that I encounter. It's going to come in the choices. It's going to be there. And I just feel myself, especially with this wound of self-worth, like it's interesting because there's just so many, I feel like it's just so multifaceted, like it shows up in so many ways, but in the sense of maybe with boundaries and like maybe externalizing and vocalizing boundaries, I've become, from how maybe by comparison, really comfortable with that. And if you've been on a journey with like learning boundaries, when you first start confronting it, it feels so challenging. Like any like transformation feels, like the beginning of it feels the hardest because it's the first time you're dealing with it. It's the first time that you're putting your foot down and saying, no, I'm worth this. And if you're coming from a place of truly not understanding or perceiving worth or value of yourself, it's so hard. And so I feel like with most things, it starts off feeling the most challenging. And then you kind of get used to it and you start experiencing, from what I understand, is a bit of a frustration point where it's where I feel with myself right now. It's this point where you feel that you know all the things that you should do, but there's this feeling that maybe pulls you to make wrong decisions, or you give in, or like there's the backpedaling, and like it's this part where you really get a lot of back and forth. And at least with like externalizing and vocalizing boundaries, I feel like I'm coming slightly out of the other side of that, where I feel pretty confident. And I say I'm in this transition point where at least this part of the wound feels predominantly healed, and I'm no longer, it feels like, and it looks like in me now, if I'm ever faced with a question or a situation in which I need to like speak up for myself, or like voice what I need or how I'm feeling, or make a decision based on what I need or how I'm feeling, it no longer feels like this like brief moment of like, oh, like, okay, what should I do? It's an automatic reaction of like, actually, no, I know I'm feeling this way, so I'm going to do this thing. And it's as if all of this like very challenging and confronting conscious work that I've been trying to be like, no, this is the right thing, and like try to teach myself and coach myself through and reinforce and support myself through. It's as if all that conscious effort has slowly helped change my unconscious response. Like, it's no longer that wound that's ruling my unconscious decisions in this thing. It's actually like, no, like there's this autopilot thing of like, actually, no, I feel good at doing that. And so now there's an aspect of myself that has changed and healed and transformed. And I think that seeing myself be capable of going through all of that in one area of my life has now pushed this expectation on me to just get there with everything else. And it is so unhelpful. Like, it's so unhelpful. I think what I'm really dealing with is expectations. Yeah, and I've just been struggling with reshaping my inner critic that is comparing me to myself. And it's such a tricky conversation to try and like mediate, because there's so many like what I feel like valid arguments of like, well, you're you and you've done it here, so why can't you do it here? And it seems like a very like it seems like a very impenetrable argument, because it's like, that's right, like I am me and I did do it this one time, so why can't I do it again? And the answer is like, it's just not time. We're just not there. For whatever reason, I haven't experienced all that I need to experience with whatever other facets of this wound or other wounds or whatever. And that is also a really impenetrable argument of just like, well, it's just not going to be that way. And what is it? It's an impossible force meets an immovable object is how I'm feeling right now. It's just like, well, why can't you do it? I just can't. And it just feels exhausting. And yeah, taking a bit of a break from that dialogue, which is necessary, which is like something that if you resonate with this conversation of like internal conflict, take a break from it as much as you can. Like, just take a day to not be engaged in this argument. And at least I'm feeling today that I can come back to it, and I'm siding a bit more with well, it's just not happening. I'm siding a little bit more with that surrender to, yeah, like, or it's like a surrender, but it's also, I'm trying to shift and transform well, you've done it before. And I'm trying to change the voice of that to be not so judgmental or like full of expectation. And I'm trying to shift it into like more of a hope of like, okay, well, I have done it before. And I know that this endpoint exists. I know that it's possible for me to get there. And I also know that at least I'm just in this, I am in the frustration bit. And I'm trying to turn knowledge into something that can comfort me rather than just like hound on me and like impose expectation on me. I think that's the problem, is that like knowledge, like it has its use, but I think my brain is just misusing it right now, in the sense that it is, you know, it's useful. I think I said in the video, like it just does nothing, like in terms of knowledge, in terms of actually like implementing and being responsible for like experiencing change. I don't think it has a lot of value, but I think it can facilitate change and support change when my mind knows how to frame it correctly. And I think when I lose track of like my hold of it, it really quickly becomes something that imposes expectation and judgment onto just the parts of me that aren't perfect and aren't fully there yet, or fully formed, or for whatever reason are just lagging behind other parts of myself. So what I'm understanding is that I do need to still, I can't just toss out knowledge completely and undermine it, like and devalue it. So I am changing my mind of what I said in the first bit of the video. That's also good. It's good to change your mind. I just need to be responsible with what knowledge I choose to listen to and what knowledge I choose to like actually shape and guide my navigation of everything. And to really just understand that being where I'm at, I can do almost nothing about immediately. I can really only take like baby steps with what I can manage. And the best baby steps to take are baby steps that are taken out of love and understanding and compassion for myself. Because there just really isn't any place for judgment. There never is. There never is. My brain just wants to be like, sometimes there is. I don't know, maybe sometimes there is, but right now, at least for this, there's no place for it. Anyway, I hope if you're having a similar internal conflict, maybe this dialogue or conversation can help, because I've needed it. I was really struggling with it in the past couple of days, and then taking that break really helped. So I would probably also really suggest that, just like taking a break from fighting with yourself if you are, and coming to understand that it's okay to be wherever you're at and to be discerning about what you choose to like define your lessons by. I don't know. I feel like I'm running out of words now, which is usually the point where I'm like, all right, end it. And that feels good. Ooh, okay. I think I've said all I want to say. Have a good day. Bye.